Good morning, everybody. Earlier, we have discussed about emotion, and there are some parts under emotion which we will discuss today. Amongst them, first of all, we will discuss regarding theories of emotion. There are various theories of emotion. James Lange theory was introduced independently by William James and the Danish researcher Carl Lange. They proposed that emotion follows from the perception of one's bodily reactions. According to this theory, something happens, one feels an emotion and do something. For example, you lose your fortune, you feel miserable, and you cry, or your rival insults you, you feel angry and you hit him. Stanley Sacher and Jerome Singer advocated the another theory known as two-factor theory or cognitive theory. They argued that bodily changes are necessary to experience an emotion, but they are not enough. Emotion, they said, depends on two factors: physiological arousal and the cognitive interpretation. For example, if your body may charring away in high gear, but unless you can interpret, explain, and label those changes, you would not feel a true emotion. There is another theory known as Cannon-Bard theory. According to this theory, emotions and physiological responses occur simultaneously. And there is another theory which is known as activation theory, which tells that emotion is a state of heightened arousal. These are the theories of emotion in short. Now there are some terms which are very related to the emotions and very much important to know about the patient as well as our materia medica. First of all, we will discuss feeling and emotions. These are affective experiences and dependent on the brain, but they differ from each other. Feeling are simply sense feeling. They arise from sensations. They are peripherally excited, but emotions are centrally excited. If we see the comparative study in the chart, there are similarities and dissimilarities. Similarities are there that both are feeling experiences, both are dependent on brain. And in dissimilarities, we have feeling is a simply sense feeling, arises from sensations. Emotion is an affective feeling. Feeling is peripherally excited, whereas emotion is centrally excited. Similarly, there is term emotion and desire. A mother feels love for her child. It is an emotion. But a mother has a wanting to feed the child. This is the desire. An emotion gives rise a desire. Emotion and mood. A mood is usually a temporary after effect of an emotion. An emotion persists in the form of mood. After anger, a person shows irritable mood. An emotion is the case of a mood. A mood is less intense than an emotion but lasts for a long time. An emotion is excited by a definite situation, but a mood has no definite object. A mood is felt at the level of consciousness. Sometimes a mood is produced by organic condition. If a person suffers constantly from indigestion or insomnia, his organic condition produces an irritable mood. If a person constantly uses drugs or stimulants, he develops a mood of hilarity. Now if we see the comparative charts which indicate the similarities and dissimilarities, we know that all are affective experiences. In dissimilarities, we can see emotion persists in the form of mood. It is temporary. Mood is the temporary after effect of an emotion. Emotion is more intense than a mood, whereas mood is less intense than emotion. Emotion is short-lasting, whereas mood is long-lasting. An emotion is excited by a definite situation. Mood has no definite object or for occurrence. Before going to further discussion, I prefer to go in this graphical presentation that here is the emotion. It causes temporary effect and permanent effect. If there is temporary effect of emotion, it gives rise to the mood. If there is permanent effect of the emotion, there is sentiment. And mood, the example is irritable mood, where emotion acts, that is the anger. This gives rise to the irritable mood. Emotion love, this gives rise to the sentiment friendship. So this is the relationship, how emotion, mood and sentiment are related. Now we will go back again. The emotion and sentiment. Both are affective experiences. Both are the after effect of an emotion. A sentiment is a permanent emotional disposition. A sentiment is a predisposing cause of emotion. An emotion is felt in the focus of consciousness, but sentiment is below the level of consciousness. I can hate my enemy, it is a sentiment. But when I see my enemy and I injure him, then it is the outburst of my emotion. Love, friendship, patriotism, hatred are the sentiments. Now you will see the similarities and dissimilarities of emotion and sentiment. Both are affective experience. Emotion is a temporary outburst, whereas sentiment is a permanent emotional disposition. An emotion is felt in the focus of consciousness, whereas sentiment is below the level of consciousness. An emotion is the predisposing cause of sentiment, whereas sentiment is an after effects of an emotion. Now earlier we have seen emotion and mood, emotion and sentiment. Now we will see regarding mood and sentiment. Both are the affective experiences. Both originate from emotion. Mood is a temporary after effect of an emotion, but sentiment is a permanent emotional disposition. A mood is felt at the level of consciousness, but sentiment is felt below the level of consciousness. So here we are seeing that both are affective experiences and both originate from emotion. And difference is that mood is a temporary after effect of an emotion, whereas sentiment a permanent emotional disposition. A mood is felt at the level of consciousness, whereas sentiment below the level of consciousness. Now there is a popular term which is used in homeopathy, that is temperament, which comes from the word temper. Now for that reason we have to see at first what is temper. The way by which an emotion or a native propensity works towards the goal, that is known as temper. If a person works steadfastly in spite of obstacles till the goal is achieved, he is termed as a person of steadfast temper. Whereas a person is deflected by obstacles and fails to reach the goal, he is termed as a person of fickle temper. Now the temperament. A temperament is the sum total of innate tempers of one's different emotions. It is deeper and more permanent than a mood or sentiment. It determines the character, the whole attitude of a person's life. It gives the permanent bent to his thoughts, emotions, and volitions. Temperament is a mental quality which has a definite physical basis. It is also related with hormones. In hypothyroidism, mental activities are diminished due to deficient secretion of thyroxine from the thyroid gland. Now the types of temperaments. There are various types we have seen in our books, but the four principal types are choleric, sanguine, melancholic, and phlegmatic. A person who is alert, quick, strong, and predisposed to anger is termed as a person of choleric temperament. We have in our Meta Medica Nux vomica patient who is under this group. The sanguine temperament. This individual is also quick but weak and having a hopeful and cheerful outlook. Belladonna is the typical of this temperament. Melancholic temperament. The individual is slow, depressed, and predisposed to grief, shows strength of character. Natrum muriaticum seems to be of this type. Phlegmatic temperament. Persons are dull, slow, but calm and persistent. Calcarea curve shows such temperament. These are the four principal temperaments. Apart from this, in our books we have other terms, other types of temperament like bilious temperament. It is nothing but similar to choleric temperament. We have also leucophlegmatic or lymphatic temperaments. They are nothing but similar to phlegmatic temperament. There is also a mild temperament which is opposite to choleric temperament. Another term is there nervous temperament, where there is susceptibility for derangement of nervous system. And the other term which is used, that is affabilious temperament, which is nothing but similar to that of melancholic temperament. In homeopathy, we have constitution, the word constitution, which we mean the physical makeup, and by the word temperament we mean mental makeup. But actually constitution includes both the physical and mental makeup. So temperament is a part of constitution, but as the body and mind are not separable, so in various occasions temperaments include some of the physical makeup of a person and vice versa. Thank you all today up to this.